On October 25th, 2025, for the first time in over 3 decades, the Billboard Hot 100's Top 40 had no rap music. That's right, 0 rap songs in the top 40. When I saw this news, I knew I needed to think before I reacted. It's kind of how I am. On the good days, anyway. In doing so, I realized that this isn't just a fact about charts and music. It's actually important because of what happened next. In that moment, the think pieces began to drop. The tweets got hot, and that meant a whole bunch of hot takes. The overwhelming conclusion was rap is dying. Hip-hop's cultural influence is waning. Is this the end of an era? The worry was real, and the concern was immediate. So, as a nerd, I decided to look into it and found reports that Billboard started to move long-charting songs into recurrent status more aggressively, with stripped songs with extended chart runs from the top 40. If this is true, Luther by Kendrick Lamar and SZA, a song that spent 46 weeks on the top 40, including 3 consecutive months at number 1, got bumped because Billboard changed its chart rules. One rule change. That's all it took to erase 35 years of consecutive rap presence on the top 40. Reminds me of what Kendrick said. They tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. So, what if I told you that all of this valid concern about rap music not being on the Billboard Top 40, even if just for 1 week, reveals something fundamental about how we need to fully understand how culture works in business and how we measure business success? That this is an example of why being led by the attention economy was never, is never, and will never be the way. Well, my name is Gary J. Nix, and I've been in the marketing space for 4 separate decades across various sectors, including music. In that time, I've watched a pattern repeat across industries. Companies conflated attention with staying power. And that confusion costs millions upon millions of dollars. And so many times, it's a product of misalignment, misunderstanding, or just a plain miss when it comes to absolute cultural fluency. Here's what I mean. The panic about no rap music being high on the chart was based on one single metric: short-term chart position. A certain blip of presence on the Billboard Top 40. A number, a ranking, an attention signal. It sounded like that signal said, rap is gone from the top 40. Rap is disappearing. And I get it. These days, that kind of panic makes sense. But there's a problem with that metric. It measures one thing and one thing only. What's getting the most attention right now on this particular ranking system. It doesn't measure anything about staying power. It doesn't measure anything about cultural depth. It doesn't measure anything about how many people actually love the music. It doesn't even measure what caused the change. It measures, is this commercially dominant in this specific moment? Those are not the same thing. While so many people were panicking about the top 40, here's what was actually happening with the music. Hip hop and R&B account for 30.7% of all streams on Spotify globally. The most streamed genre category on the platform. Almost 1/3 of all music streamed is hip hop and R&B. This is not a decline. This is not a disappearance. This is continued dominance. Hip hop and R&B listeners spend 3 hours and 48 minutes daily with the music. And that's nearly 1 full hour more than any other genre. That's not casual listening. This is devotion. And don't even get me started on the post-Kendrick hip-hop renaissance. Old heads, like me, are rejoicing at the return of lyricism and fun. And younger folk, both listeners and artists, are embracing so much of what was built before. Artists like Jid, Doechii, Glorilla, Tyler the Creator, The Clips, and of course Kendrick hit the news with all types of Grammy nominations for what they dropped this year. Outkast and Salt-N-Pepa just got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The artists are generating unprecedented creative output. New subgenres are emerging. Regional styles exploding globally. Innovation is happening at a pace faster than any traditional metric capture. As a matter of fact, on platforms where artists can monetize directly through their fan base without major label mediation, hip hop and R&B represent 60% of the most played content. The platform hosts 340,000 hip hop creators earning directly from fan support. The people are actively choosing to support hip hop creators. That's not a sign of cultural decline. That's a sign of cultural depth. So, what is it again that the top 40 actually measures? Is it measuring what's getting algorithmic promotion? What gets the biggest push from the powers that be? What's dominating mass market attention right now? Is it what's popular based on what they saw become popular first? And making more creativity with a waning half-life? It doesn't seem to measure what culture is generally loved by the people who've invested their identity in it. It doesn't seem to measure what's generating staying power. That's because those are completely different signals. And in the moment of that 1 week, they were being conflated. And here's where hip hop teaches us the deeper lesson. So much of our activity is based on living in this attention economy of business. Everything is being optimized for impressions, visibility, rankings, trending status, getting eyes on something right now. And attention metrics are seductive, in part because they're easy to measure. You can see them. You can graph them. You can react to them immediately. But attention metrics alone are also low context. In this specific case, they're surface level. They say, people are looking at this. They don't say people care about this. They don't say this is building lasting value. They don't say this is generating real staying power for the people who matter most. Hip hop culture itself, by design, is high context. It requires you to understand the context, to understand the signal, and feel it. You need to know who's actually listening, not just who's aware. You need to know how long they're engaging, not only if they clicked once. You want to know what they're choosing to support with their time, money, and loyalty. What it is that's creating actual cultural staying power versus momentary buzz. These signals tell a completely different story than the top 40 chart. And here's the trap. When you optimize for the attention signal, you typically sacrifice the staying power signal. This is not about making a binary choice. It's about finding alignment between the two. And that demands complementary strategies. You see, I started my marketing career firmly ensconced in hip hop. Professionally and personally, I watched hip hop transform from a cultural movement that mainstream media didn't understand into a dominant cultural force in America. But that rise wasn't because hip hop was getting better at gaining charts or chasing trends. It was because of the people who loved it. It came about because of the genuine investments in it, the identities people build around it. As the parlance goes, hip hop isn't something you do. Hip hop is something you live. That's high context cultural staying power. And I've spent my career since then watching companies completely miss that distinction. Not just with hip hop, but in business all around. They see attention. They optimize for attention. And by doing so, they destroy the actual cultural connection in the process. Here's what that billboard moment reveals. In industry, we become experts at mistaking low context attention signals with high context staying power signals. In the case of hip hop's 1 week hiatus in the top 40 chart, yeah, that's right, it's back. The confusion translated to thinking the genre is dying when it's actually thriving. Just not thriving in the way the old metrics measure. Like I just said, this exact confusion isn't unique to hip hop. It's a dominant pattern in business strategy every single day. When companies chase attention and sacrifice staying power, that costs them millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. Let me show you what I mean. Remember that whole thing with Bud Light? Bud Light saw Dylan Mulvaney's massive TikTok following. Millions of engaged followers, high visibility, trending potential, perfect attention metrics. So they decided to partner with her for a March Madness campaign. A conservative boycott happened immediately. Sales dropped 25% overall. Within months, Bud Light fell from #1 beer in America, 20 plus years, to #3. Their core customer base, the people who said they loved Bud Light, acted as if they were betrayed. And the new audience they were trying to get felt abject rejection. $1.4 billion in lost sales. And the brand still hasn't recovered. They optimized for influencer reach and destroyed any semblance of loyalty to anybody. It's not a trade-off. That's a failure. In 2009, that's a while ago, but still, Tropicana wanted to feel modern and fresh. So they redesigned their iconic 50-plus year packaging, replacing the recognizable orange with a straw with a minimalist generic glass. Not only did people not like the rebrand, customers couldn't find the product on shelves. What they saw was what they thought was a new brand or a generic alternative. So competitors like Simply Orange and Minute Maid immediately capitalized. Because of that decision, just 20% sales drop in 2 months. About $50 million total in rebranding costs. So 4 weeks later, after the rebrand, they went back to the old visual identity. But here's the kicker. In 2024, they tried a similar redesign again. Sales fell 19% in October alone. Same mistake, same consequence. In 2010, the Gap was struggling after the financial crisis. Leadership panicked and decided a new logo equals buzz. It equals renewed interest. So they replaced their 20-year-old blue box with a minimalist sans serif design. Generate attention. Create newsworthy moment. There's no such thing as bad PR, right? Right? For this decision, they received an immediate, massive backlash within 24 hours. The Gap logo Twitter account gained 5,000 followers protesting the change. One of their blogs got 2,000 negative comments. The Make Your Own Gap logo site generated 14,000 parody redesigns. The cost? About $100 million spent on redesign. And they reverted within 6 days. The attention they got was the wrong kind. Anger, not excitement. They damaged their brand equity with people who actually loved the Gap. And they couldn't stand on their decision. At one point, it seemed like Netflix was basing all their cancellation decisions on algorithmic metrics. First week viewership, starters versus committed viewers. Optimized for early attention, and the algorithm determines everything. And as such, award-winning, culturally acclaimed shows like The Babysitter's Club, I'm Not Okay With This, and Cursed got canceled despite strong critical reception and devoted fan bases. Meanwhile, culturally mediocre but initially attention-grabbing shows got renewed. The cost? A loss in competitive position. Top creators led to places like Amazon, Apple, and Disney. Netflix's dominance began to erode because they optimized for short-term attention metrics instead of long-term franchise value and creator relationships. In 2018, after 55 years as Weight Watchers, the company rebranded to WW, which stood for Wellness That Works. Why? Because wellness was trending. It was a growing category. It had broader market appeal. They were chasing the attention of the wellness boom. Existing loyal customers were confused and felt alienated. They'd invested in Weight Watchers because it was about weight loss. They valued that clarity. New customers didn't understand what WW stood for or meant. They got neither the new trend audience, nor did they keep the old one. The cost, member confusion increased, and subscriber numbers declined, which also dropped stock value. By sometime around 2020, they were forced to reintroduce Weight Watchers language just to recover that positioning clarity. They sacrificed staying power, chasing attention. So there you have it. 5 different companies, 5 different industries. Same pattern, either coming from overreacting or abject panic. They saw an attention opportunity. Then they optimized for it. And what happened? They destroyed the cultural staying power with the people who actually mattered. That measurement by itself was wrong. That strategy was wrong. The cost was way more money than they wanted to count. So here's the final lesson through this all. The metrics you optimize for will determine the strategy you build. And if you're over-indexing for attention, you're going to sacrifice staying power every time. Ask yourself this question. Which one matters more than what you're building? And if you want help figuring that out, that's what we do. It's what we call brand arching. It's why we're here. And hopefully now it's why you're here too. So until next time, make sure you pay close attention to the signals that matter most.